So you might have seen my ZMR Slim frame. Well, here you can see next to it, this is my new frame. This is a ZMR Slim Mini. So the idea for this frame variation came about because I was looking at the ZMR Slim frame, and as you can see here, there's a bit of empty space kind of in the front and at the back. I thought, well, I could use a micro minim OSD and save all that space at the back. So what I did was I went to the CAD drawings and cut about 20mm off the front and about 20mm off the back, and yeah, so that's how I ended up with the final design. For this frame, for the moment, I've just cut it out with the jigsaw. I had some 1mm carbon fibre sheet, which you can get from eBay, in 200 by 300mm sheets. It's pretty cheap, so yeah, it's good for prototyping at least. So that's the way I've gone so far. I might get it properly done later. We'll see how we go. So here you can see the finished frame, 104 grams. So that's with all of the hardware, including the standoffs, the metal standoffs for the flight controller. The arms are the standard ZMR arms. So it's really the same shape and size as the other frame, so you can fit 5-inch props on it still. So this is where things get interesting with the power selection. So basically I've had these MN1806 T-motors for ages, and I never found the quad that I wanted to use them on, because I've always found that the 2204 motors were better suited to the quad. Like my other ZMR Slim that uses 2204 motors and 5-inch bullnose props on 3S, so that's a good spec class racer quad. But yeah, for the 1806s, I never found a good use case for what I was building, at least. So I really wanted to use those, and I had the little B ESCs in the mail as well. So when they arrived, I did some thrust tests with those, and I was really surprised about the extra thrust that you get from the little Bs for a start, but also the ideal prop for the 1806s. So I started off with testing some 40-45 bullnose DAL props, because I thought, well, maybe these 1806 motors would be good for a small, like a 180 sized quad or something. And yeah, you get some pretty good thrust on 4S. But then I tested some 5-inch props. I tested the 50-30s, 50-40s, and surprisingly, you draw a lot of extra current for not much gain in static thrust when it comes to the 5-inch props on these motors. So I realised if I go 50-30 props on 4S, that's 757 grams of thrust at 14.7 amps. That's really efficient, but a lot of power. So, and then I realised if this is really efficient, then I don't need as big a battery. And I happen to have some 4-cell 850 milliamp hour nanotechs, so they're good batteries, but they're nice and light. And so yeah, if it's going to be a lighter build, then less weight also equals more flight time, more thrust to weight ratio. So I thought this is going to work really well. So that's what I've gone with. So this picture you can see when I started building it. It's a top view. I didn't use a PDB. I just soldered all the power wires together. I guess it's lighter that way, and I don't mind doing it, so there you go. Now I should have taken some more pictures of the build, but this is the end result. The main idea of this video is show the unusual frame and the unusual setup, I guess. So as you can see, 390 grams, which is quite light, I would say, for a 5-inch prop quad, 4S. So with that kind of thrust, thrust to weight ratio is 7.76 to 1, which is pretty mad. I reckon this is going to be pretty fun. And as you can see, the kind of slim shape means less air resistance, so it should be pretty quick. So yeah, I'm looking forward to maidening this quad.